What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So look over here. It seems like Warner Brothers Games Montreal is now starting to put out a little bit more, I would say, communication regarding Gotham Knights. But many of us, we've already dug in and filtered through a lot of what this game is about based on our perceptions, based on some things that we've seen and what we've read. The developers put together a Q&A last month, and a bunch of the community was able to see responses to questions that have resonated within the community. So I think these are all good things altogether. And to even top everything up, you look at the schedule for the Summer Games Fest. It appears that on June 9th, the development actually have a premiere for Gotham Knights. Now, most of us here in the community were suspecting that it might be a Robin gameplay premiere because we haven't really seen Robin in action in his own particular environment. And so a lot of people are still kind of curious as to how the character is going to fight, how the character is going to play, and we want to kind of see his traversal in action, maybe with a little bit of explanation as to how they're going to implement it and how he feels in the game. Now, what's really interesting though is the developers are putting these different logos and symbols regarding the different knights, and they've already put one up for Robin and one for Batgirl. And these two have a statement, seems like it's a quote coming from the different knights, and it's really interesting because it starts to provide some kind of a character assessment of these different characters. Now, only time will tell what Red Hood and Nightwing is going to have on theirs, but for now we have Robin's, and for Robin's it says the legacy lives on. So when you see this on the forefront, it looks like they're saying, hey man, this character is carrying on Batman's legacy or the superhero legacy to keep Gotham free of crime and rid it of vices. In fact, they even captioned this picture with the words, Robin's going to make sure Gotham has the hero it needs. And so this is actually pretty cool. You see this, you're like, man, it seems like, we're getting these heroes all positioned for some kick butting or whatever it is that they're gonna do. And then you come over and then you see Batgirls, which was actually posted today, the 2nd of June, and it says protecting people is what I do. So it's actually pretty cool. These knights are set up for them to be able to stand out as these protectors of Gotham. But here's something that's really interesting. For the caption for Batgirl, they're like, Batgirl is nobody's sidekick. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to stop playing like this. Come on. I mean, Batgirl is written at the core as a sidekick to Batman. In fact, the reason Batgirl is where she is because of the training and even her association with Batman. A lot of her story has been tied to the character, and if anybody has a very interesting plot line that is actually related to Batman, she is actually one of those. Now, yes, there's a very, very interesting relationship, like a father-daughter relationship, father-son relationship between Batman and the Knights. Unless you want to kind of maybe pretend like Killing Joke didn't happen, then you can probably just say, okay, yeah, nobody spoiled it. But if you go ahead and kind of think about it, this is how these characters are going to thrive, and this is how they're going to be represented. So I think this particular statement, we need to be very watchful for it as to how the plot line is going to go, because a lot of people have already been suspicious as to the plot line, in the sense that if you see something like this, it indicates that, oh, perhaps somebody wants to maybe deviate a little bit from the source material. But the developers, the creative direction, have already promised that they're appealing to the fans of this game by pulling a lot of the different plot aspects from the already available literature, the comics, and different storylines. So we'll see how much they're gonna stay true to that once the game comes out and once the story and narrative gets into play. Also, keep in mind that it's imperative that when they're writing this story, we have to see at least some level of harmony between these knights in order for it to not be some sort of an awkward situation all the time. Already in that gameplay reveal with Nightwing and Red Hood, we already saw that there was some kind of an awkward tension between both of them. Actually, basically Red Hood saw Dick Grayson as kind of an idiot in one sense, because Dick Grayson is grieving. He's going through some really interesting emotional situation. I mean, he just lost Batman. So I think it'd be really beneficial if we actually see a lot more of a familial type relationship between all of them, and even keep in mind the fact that somehow Detective Gordon is already dead too. So it seems Barbara has been the one that has lost a lot more in this particular scenario. And so I think for her, it's best that she actually is able to lean on the other knights and they be able to depend on her as well. Because if you guys look at the origin of Barbara, and I say this from the perspective of the story writing, even from just say Arkham Origins, let's not even open up any comic books just yet. Let's just use that representation. It was quite obvious and clear that the relationship between Oracle and Batman was born out of necessity. The necessity for her wanting to do the right thing and actually help Batman. And everybody knows that Batman always swears that he does not need any any help. I mean, you can see his stubbornness in almost every representation of his character. In movies, in TV shows, in animated series, he's usually saying, no, I don't need help. Go do this. Telling everybody, hey, you go focus on what it is that you're supposed to be focusing on. And so it's not like Batman needs anybody to be his sidekick anyways. So we don't necessarily need to go ahead and start to make these characters seem like, you know, what they're not. They already are established characters, loved by the fans, and the best way to approach them is to stay true to their personalities, at least from a broader understanding, and have them be able to just kick butt when they're in the game. So these are, in my opinion, some of the really decent things that are going on. And I know I usually like to put my caveats in different points, but like I usually say, I'm an enthusiast, I'm excited for the game, but I'm not a blind fanboy. I gotta make sure that I keep my expectations in check. And so June 9th, in my opinion, is gonna be a huge day for this game. We're gonna get to see what the developers have. The mistakes that were made in the May 10th presentation probably need to be corrected heavily because there's a plethora of information, videos, articles, reactions to have given them a blueprint of exactly what they need to bring to the audience. But this is pretty much my spiel for now. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you think, and hopefully we'll talk in another video. I really appreciate you guys so much. Peace out.